Right, I think it's time that I did some setting on this wall. Obviously this is my main training facility and you certainly don't want to get bored of the place that you habitually train in. It's a big board, so there's plenty of variety of climbs on here for me to try. And I don't reset them often, in part because of the effort of resetting them. You know, I want to get on with my training, and also in part because of the expensive holds. However, I've just bought a few more holds. They are expensive, but I think it's been like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years since I bought any new holds, so I thought, right, I'm going to do it. I have a yellow circuit on my board, which is about AB+, which has been on my board for ages, and I've found that I tend to ignore it. I'm not a fan of the holds. What I'm going to replace it with, I haven't decided yet. It's going to be exciting. I always keep it open. I don't try and limit myself too much with setting. If I make something that's 7C+, that'll be fine. I'm just going to set something that feels good to climb. So long as you have sufficient variety, that I think works the best, where I enjoy all the circuits that I've set, and so when you have to go round them again and again and again, it doesn't feel like too much of a chore. They're just good to climb. So that's my primary goal here. I'm going to open these boxes, see what I've got, and then try and make something good. So I bought these holds from Lapis, and I really do like their sets. But that's a lovely set of crimps, really like that. One thing I don't really have for my 45 board is lots of volumes. Again, just mainly because of the expense of buying them. Sometime in the future, that's for the next round. I've actually got this set already on the board in grey. That circuit, it's a sort of double loop if you like, and the longer single loop is the hardest problem that I've done on this board. I don't know what grade it is, but let's say it's like root 8C+, French 8C+. And then the shorter circuit, well, that's more like a long boulder problem really. But let's say that's like 48, something like that. But I think together, if you did the two loops, I don't know what grade it would be on the board, but I know that if I could climb that, I could climb 9A+ outside, at least. So I'm actually nowhere close to it though, and I don't really try it often because I just know that I'm simply nowhere near good enough. But it's great as a kind of long-term project that sits there. That's not my intention for this circuit though. I want something rather easier. Small footholds are absolutely key in my mind in endurance circuits, and a lot of commercial climbing walls, not a lot, maybe not a lot, but some commercial climbing walls I think get this wrong. They sometimes set big grids of footholds that are just a bit too big, especially if it's only gently overhanging, and then it allows climbers to not really have to slow down and not really have to think about their feet. I think it catches up with them on real routes. So I've always, with all my circuits, regardless of angle or difficulty, I try to set it with poor footholds and set the footwork in such a way that it will trip you up if you're not slow and careful. When I say slow, I mean just taking it at a steady pace. You can't just speed through it. You can't just slap your foot on because it'll slip. Big jugs. So these might end up in the roof. I've kind of got more than I need, so I don't know exactly where this circuit will go. That's the other thing about circuits is that, I mean, I've got a big wide board, which I really like, just a continuous 45 that's really quite high and quite wide. And it gives you so much more scope to design circuits. They don't have to go in a circle. They can go figure of 8, or they can go up, across, down, across, up, or other things like that. And all of those work really well just to give you more variety in the board. But if you do the up, down, up, that also allows you to set straight up problems, which can serve as your warm-ups or a sort of medium difficulty climb. But then when you string them together in the up, down, up, they turn into a really hard circuit. So it all adds to what you can pack into your board. I can put that in the roof, or what I quite like doing is at the bottom of the board when I come down low is maybe to use these as an undercut, like an undercut rest. It's not relaxing, so psychologically, again, that's another purpose of endurance circuits, is not just the pure forearm endurance. It forces you to keep your composure. And you can't fake composure. It has to come from experience. So I don't get to do that much sport climbing because there just aren't many sport climbs in my country, and I don't fly anymore, so I don't just go to Spain these days. So doing that in my training is really important. When I take all these small crimps out of the box, I just really want to set something hard. Let's get the old yellow holes off the wall. Probably should have done that first. I was too excited. We've got a handful of holes on the wall. I maybe set around a third of the circuit so far. And you can see I've got a mix of these massive macro holes, well, they're massive for my board anyway, and I've got a whole pile of crimps still on the ground here that I haven't used much of. Always with route setting, especially when you're trying to mix it into a board and you're trying to create variety, you're trying to make the use of the space, you're trying to sort of balance all these things at the same time. You know, I'm not a super experienced route setter. I mean, I have worked as a route setter for nearly 30 years, but not full time, you know, just doing the odd day here and there. And I've also set tons of my own problems by putting holes on the wall, but I also set my own spray wall problems just constantly as part of my training. If you're a route setter, please comment below and tell me if you agree with me or not, but I think the primary skill for route setting is to think about moves all the time. So I do think about moves all the time, and I think that allows you to at least get started with route setting. But there's no doubt that experience really counts for a lot. And these bigger holes lend themselves to bigger, more powerful climbing, which I don't have quite so much of on this board. So this seems like an opportunity to set more of this style. I constantly have to resist the temptation to just set something that's at my limit. I have to remember that this is an endurance circuit. It's fine for it to be easier. So I had in my mind that I would keep these bigger macro holds for higher up on the board, because I always set so that I don't tend to fall off higher up. I set powerful moves that get me pumped but positive, so I'm not going to fall. I don't like falling off from the top of my board anyway, but especially because my ankles are a bit trashed, so I don't tend to do it habitually. I can do it, but just not all the time. However, I'm thinking I might actually just use them up a bit more down here, because although I've got small crimps, they're all positive, so it doesn't really matter. I just really like this hold, so I thought like a big move to get to this, and then I've got space on the board here. So I'm thinking come across the board here, and if I angle that like that, and I put 1 foothold in the corner, then I can still keep it powerful. That, and I just put a foothold there. Cool. And then up to there, and then undercut. Excellent. And I don't know how much is obvious, but can you see from that big jug that you get on the right, so you reach off the undercut under my fingerboard there, do a long reach right hand to the good rail, and then I put a kind of undercut side pull there. I had originally put a different hold there, and then I changed it to that one. It's positive, but it's undercut. And the reason I did that is because I suddenly realised I put this jug in the roof, the yellow jug in the roof there, but I want to put that in a situation where you've not got no feet, but you've certainly got no good feet. I want you to have to be forced to put your feet up high in the roof, so that becomes still a powerful rest. So even though you're hanging off a jug, I want it to have no footholds to keep it as sustained as possible. So again, you can see how the position of the foothold really dictates how sustained it is. Okay, that's us used up all of the big macro holds that I think we can get on the 45 board. Still don't really know how hard this is going to be. I think that's all the hand holds set for the outer loop. What I'm going to do is set an inner loop. We're really breaking out some small holes now, so I think the idea of this being in like 80 is long gone. Very much harder than that, but well. I can always swap it out. I just like this crimp so much. But it's small, but you've got the good foothold. There's a little snatch to something there. Right, I would say that's all the handhold set. Time for a cup of tea. I did choose a double loop in the end, but the section coming up the middle here has this big foothold, so it should be alright. It might actually be not that bad, he says. Put up there. Yeah, cool. That's it. I reckon we can get on this now. Okay, the rock shoes have been put on. Time to give it a go. Having a warm up, but well, we'll just try and do the outer loop just now, and then go from there. Alright, that's cool. That's all the moves done on the outer loop. So let's try the inner loop, which may be a bit harder. So I think the way this will go is I'll do the inner loop first and then the outer loop. Wow, that's a grippy move. Oh, that's so grippy. Yeah, that hold, that's small. I think this is going to make it disproportionately harder than the rest of it. If I can get the heel up, it might go. Maybe I just need to work it. I'm not going to give up on it just yet. Once I got my heel in there, I felt like I was kind of sorted. The bit where I failed, when I was just trying to hang that, was probably the very hardest part of the entire climb. And I full crimped it. Possibly it needs a half crimp. If I can just get the heel up, let's just see if I can do that. So I was there. Oh, it's hard to get the outside edge on that. I need to get the heel straight on. I wonder if I can actually get the heel up first and then come into that. That would make it. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if we can link loop number 1. I mean, obviously I don't have that wired. It will get easier when I do it a bunch of times. So possibly the whole loop, the double loop, will be AB+. All good. Not complaining. We'll give it a go, see if we can link it. Or have I just sandbagged myself? Well, one way to find out. That's going to be tough, like that doing that down climb again at the end. That's good though, really good. Whew. Right, should we give it another go? So there we go, there's a new circuit. If you found this interesting and you'd like to see me use the rest of my yellow holds to set another circuit on this side, leave me a comment. I'll easily make another one if you have questions about setting and on the board. At the end of the day, the climbing wall is a tool to train on, as well as to have fun on. So I want to make the climb feel nice so that it's motivating to do again and again. Consistency is the most important word in training. So I would say that going round that double loop did indeed feel like AB+. I wouldn't want it to be any harder than it is now. So the fact that I've been able to work it out and then just do it is really what I wanted, in order that I can do multiple reps on this thing, because I really want to clock up some mileage on this. This is going to be my power endurance training for trad goals and sport climbing goals and even some long boulder problems. I hope that you take away from it the flexibility in altering the difficulty of moves and the character of them by changing the footholds. So that really makes the climb far more interesting and technical in my view. And I hope you could see that during the process of setting it was quite organic. You know, I only decided that I would do a double loop rather than a figure of 8 as I was actually setting. I put the first few holds in the wall and let it kind of emerge. How do you learn that stuff? Like, how do you learn to route set? I mean, I would say there's two things. One, there's no way around it. Lots of setting. Just putting holds on the wall and making climbs. But you can see that even though I've been doing it for decades, I've still made plenty of errors and I've still had to correct some things. And actually, I'd like to finish this video by just giving a note of appreciation to route setters. They do a really important and a really good job, and I'm really thankful for their work. Route setting is hard physical work, hard physical labour, and it's also hard in the sense that it's difficult to get right. And so it actually amazes me how good a job route setters do. So if you're a route setter, thank you for your work, we appreciate it. And if you employ route setters, pay them well, treat them well, because they're the most important part of a climbing wall. If you have more questions about setting, please ask me them in the comments. I'll make another episode setting over on that side next time. See you in the next one.